I've never heard that out of again. These are the stories that make the men. It's not just these moments.
Yeah.
Patton is not
Yeah.
just a general that drives tanks. He's a person who believes that he's a reincarnated Roman general, and that adds to his mania. And so these people have more than their myth about them, or these moments. On one of our church history trivia games, the fact that the police were told to be on lookout for people fleecing Spurgeon because he would just give anybody money, no matter what their story was a weird fact to learn about him, but it was so endearing of the man even more. So, yeah.
It was the old beggar's handbook, had him at the top of it, basically. Like, if you're a beggar, here's the book they would use, and they would give it to you to teach you how to be a beggar, which, how bad was the begging situation that there's a publishing industry? I don't know.
At least
but
they're
on
reading.
The top of it was, if you see Charles Spurgeon, put your hand out, like, ask him, because he's a sucker. He'll always give you money. And I'm like, I don't think there's a better testimony to Charles Spurgeon that you could possibly find, a better ringing endorsement of him than the beggar saying you can always count on Charles, because that means thousands of times when no one was looking, Spurgeon's like, oh, come on, here's some money. I can't not give you some money. You guys need help. I'm here for you. And that tells you more about his character and who he was than 1,000 other things could possibly do. There's a story of is it Robert Murray McChain? It's actually not. I think it's actually either Andrew Bernard or Horatius Bernard. I don't know. Anyway, but they went to Israel, and they were they went, and they were like one of the first European people to really go to Israel and visit the sites. Back when we think of Jerusalem now, it's very different than it was then. It was basically a trash heap, and it was actually heartbreaking because it was just in such disrepair. But there was another traveler there who wrote down about how he had heard a preacher just going to town, basically being like, this is the place Jesus lived. This is the place Jesus died. Like, do you understand how important this moment in history is? And he was like in a tavern on top of the table, to shout, like, just telling everyone, not drunk or anything, just telling everyone, like, do you realize where you're standing? This is where the real God of this earth once was. And he said the entire, all these travelers and all these people were just enraptured by him speaking. He wasn't doing this for fame. He was just moved by the moment. And turned out later on, people were able to connect it and realize this was this famous preacher, Andrew Bernard, before he had become famous. That was the guy who was doing it. And everyone was like, wow, again, this is somebody else getting this testimony moment, proving that guy you see and you read about is actually who he was.
That's great.